Spiritual currency. What is spiritual currency? Well, I looked it up on the internet, and they describe it as the invisible, non-material assets used to interact with God and receive His promises. And the Bible outlines different forms of spiritual currency in the following ways. So the first, most universal and the ultimate type of spiritual currency is faith. And so in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, it is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So having faith in God, even though He's not visible to us, we know that He's there. Faith is a type of, and the ultimate type of spiritual currency. Another type of spiritual currency is obedience and surrender. And I have to admit, I tell it like it is. I always considered myself to be a very flexible person. And I thought, oh, I go with the flow. Yeah. Except I'm such an overthinker. And I realized that I need to train myself to be better about that. And I need to stop the overthinking when it comes to worries and anxiety. So God has asked us that we put our worries and anxieties at His feet, and that we surrender and give that up to Him. Again, still a work in progress. It's a lot easier to say than do, but being compliant and trusting in God is actually above material sacrifices. So obedience and surrender. A third type of spiritual currency is prayer and intercession. So prayer is the language we use. It can also be considered the actions that we do to help others. And that, of course, has a lot of power behind it as well. Another type of spiritual currency is what I would consider truth. And that's a desire to know more about God and to genuinely, oh my goodness, have a desire to get to know Him better and to know more about truth. The last type of spiritual currency I'm going to mention is love and service. And this is the way that people treat others and serve God, of course. And from John chapter 4, verse 16, God is love, and all who live in love live in God. So, why am I talking about spiritual currency? Well, because I was watching somebody the other day on a video, and they mentioned a line that just so struck a chord with me, that souls are spiritual currency. And so, wow, this was like mind-blowing to think about this and how true that is. So in regards to souls being spiritual currency, I want to talk about a few important subcategories, I guess, in regards to this. So we need to be aware that temptation is all around us, and it's not just necessarily the big temptations. It can be the small things. It can be grabbing a snack when we're not hungry. It can be giving into totally guilty doom scrolling and wasting time doing that. So temptation is all around us. And typically we kind of think of it starting in middle school with peer pressure. So the biggies, of course, tend to be alcohol and drugs, cigarettes, smoking, nowadays, vaping, other things like that. That's what we consider the big ones, right? As far as temptation are concerned. Then when we become adults, then it continues to grow as far as temptations. So getting involved with sexual relations and lying and stealing and continued abuse of alcohol or drugs, cheating on your spouse would all be examples of huge temptations that are around. And are you willing to allow yourself to take action on those temptations? That's the thing. They are around us and we are aware of it, but are you going to take action upon that temptation? So sometimes this can result in confusion. It can result in rationalizing behavior. It can result in, of course, as I mentioned, acting upon temptation. Those are all things that I guess would lead us down the road to sin, right? It doesn't always have to be those major decisions, though. As I said, it can be the devil's in the details sometimes, right? So be aware of who you surround yourself with. Make sure you surround yourself with good people. You want people to encourage you and support you to be a better person. You don't want to be around people who tempt you, who try to bring you down, who don't encourage you to be your best self. You are the company that you keep. So that's a pretty accurate statement, actually. The other thing that caused me to go down the rabbit hole with souls and spiritual currency, for me, it all started with the children. And when I started to discover, and if you know, you know, that children, of course, are the most innocent and most pure souls that are out there. And there are people who prey on children. We need to be more aware of what is happening in the world and what we can do to stop this. Children's souls are not and should not be up for grabs. They should not be used as spiritual currency. More of us are becoming aware of what is happening in the world. There is sex abuse. There is trafficking. There is rape and torture of babies and children. And I have had this confirmed, that there have been documented cases, and I'm not going to name exactly where, where literally babies who are just a few days old have had this happen to them. Most of you are aware that children are being tortured for things like adrenochrome. There are too many people out there with sick fetishes, or who think that just because they are a child and a minor, that it's okay to do whatever that they want with them. No, that is not acceptable. Souls are spiritual currency. Protect your soul and make sure, if you are an adult, that you are protecting the souls of your children and of other children that you know. Souls are spiritual currency. Pray for the children. And if you know anybody who is harming a child, do your job and turn that person in, or confront that person, depending on the situation. We will not tolerate our kids to be continued to be used as spiritual currency. No. We must do better. We will do better. This evil has to stop. We need to protect our children. Do not allow children and their souls to be used as spiritual currency. Take care. We can make the changes that are needed. We can make this world a better place. Let's do it together. You are not alone in this fight. We got this.